Welcome back, once again adventurers, to Let's Play Steins 0. In the last episode, Rintaro Okabe went to the hospital along with Mayuri and Yuki and Kaide to check on Fubuki, aka Katsumi Nakase, who, if you'll remember, suffered the exact same event that Rintaro did, namely the shifting of the world lines, which definitely means that she is currently experiencing the same phenomena of reading Steiner that most other people have been experiencing lately, which for some reason is being chalked up to a new strain of encephalitis. Fortunately, Rintaro essentially told Fubuki the truth, and I think she felt a little bit better knowing that she wasn't crazy or sick either. But she was suspicious of the fact that the patients are being kept far longer than they thought they'd be, which is truly worrying. But speaking of which, soon after that hospital visit, Rintaro was called to the roof of the radio building by Suzuha Mane, who has also begun to connect the dots and is realizing that her one chance of reaching Steins Gate and averting World War III is unraveling out of her hands. Thanks to the fact that whoever is altering the world line with whatever time machine technology they have in their possession, they could do so again. And then things could get definitely worse. Daru brought his fist up to his chest. Meanwhile, Daru himself has actually been researching time machines and world lines, because we no longer have sorry about that. We no longer have Kurisu Makase, our vaunted genius girl and lab member 004, to fall back on for this type of thing. Yeah, her expertise, if I'm brutally honest, would be very much appreciated. Unfortunately, she does not exist in this world line on account of having died several months earlier. But that's why we have Daru. But my point is that Daru is finally coming to the conclusion that Rintaro has been saying all this time. That it may not be that easy to get to Steins Gate, much less change the fate of Kurisu Makase. But Daru's looking into it, and that's the whole point of his developing time machine technology here in 2010 to begin with. No, indeed, it appears that our window has been steadily decreasing over time, and may even be impossible to reach at this point. And yet Daru once again remains a bastion of optimism. That is why we admire you and follow you. And for this moment in time, Taru Hashida is completely serious when he says that. Daru's voice was strong and kind in a way you'd never imagine he was capable of. He softly took the gun from Suzuha's hands. She didn't resist. And Daru took something out of his pocket. I think I know what that is. He pressed it into Suzuha's hands. I knew it. And with that, the last vestige of Suzuha Mane's resistance and resolve crumbled into dust. It was a pair of handmade gloves. The present that Yuki had given her at the Christmas party. I remembered it well, except for the last part on account that we were shifted to another world line in which we were literally trying to survive World War III for an entire month. Once again, the longest time we've ever spent in an alternate world line, believe it or not.
私
And Suzuha is now in tears. When he gave her the gloves, warm tears started to flow down her face.
どうしていいのかわかんないわかんなくなっちゃった
And just like that, Suzuha's cool exterior has finally been broken, and in her place is a lost little child. It's not entirely her fault. I mean, I understand all too well the fact that she is trying to fulfill the promise that she made to Daru and Mayuri of 2036, which was A, to prevent World War III from ever happening, and B, to finally get Rintaro Okabe to reach Steins Gate.
助けて父さん助けてお願い
But now it's all falling apart. One could call it the butterfly effect. Suzuha's shoulders shook as the tears poured down. I turned my eyes towards the time machine, a silhouette in the darkness.
俺はもう乗らないって決めたんだ。
And for the first time in his life, Rintaro Okabe is defying the choice of Steins Gate. An act that would probably be considered heresy by his alter ego of Haruin Kiyoma, the insane mad scientist. No matter what Daru said, no matter how Suzuha threatened me, I wasn't going back to the past. I can't look back, and yet, for better or worse, the past is still with you, Rintaro Okabe. You're not free of your demons yet. Appears we've finally reached an impasse of sorts, and we're back with Suzuha's perspective again, as he forlornly contemplates her situation. The next thing she knew, Suzuha was in the time machine, wrapped in a blanket. She must have been crying a lot, because she hadn't even noticed that she'd come inside the time machine, or that Rintaro had left. Ladies and gentlemen, Rintaro Okabe has officially left the building. Her dad was next to her. He was also wrapped in a blanket, and he was looking at her. I would say just a little bit there, Daru.
今何時
She wiped away the tears as she asked.
もうすぐ日付が変わるよ。
So it's almost the 22nd then, I take it.
こんな時間まで付き合わせて
I wouldn't worry about it too much, Suzuha. If anything, Daru has pulled more than his fair share of all-nighters. I think Rintaro can attest to that,
平気平気。
as can Daru himself.
前にも言ったっしょ。父さんのこといくらでも頼っていいのだぜって。
And that's Daru for you. Even though he is a self-confessed perverted gentleman and hardcore otaku extraordinaire, Daru is very reliable when especially when it really counts.
うん
That's why he's our favorite right arm. The time machine's hatch was still open, and cold air was pouring in. Each time they spoke, they could see their breath turn white. The machine was still silent. They could use the life support system in the cockpit to keep out the cold, but she didn't want to have to waste the energy, which is why the two of them are wrapped up in heavy coated blankets. She rubbed her cheeks with her hand-covered gloves. The gloves Yuki gave her were very warm, and her hands were the one part of her that wasn't cold.
僕さ、いつか必ずオカリンも僕らと一緒に、いや違うな、僕らの先頭に立って指揮を取ってくれるって信じてるんだよね。
Unfortunately, Daru, that description is more befitting of Haruin Kiyoma than Rintaro Okabe. But I see what you're trying to do. You're trying to encourage Suzuha and keep her hopes alive. Suzuha was a little surprised to see Daru speaking seriously. Normally all Daru ever did was screw around.
未来ガジェット研究所はオカリンがいてこそだから。
Although, to be fair, it was just something that he initially started with himself and Mayuri.
今はちょっと腐ってるけどきっと立ち直る。同時に法院京馬もよみがえるわけ。不死鳥の名は伊達じゃない的な、中二病オツ的な。
I think at this moment in time, Rintaro Okabe will make doubly sure that Haruin Kiyoma is relegated to nothing but dust and ashes.
その時が来たら多分オカリンは自分からタイムマシンに乗るよ。鈴葉に言われなくってもね。
That's if Steins itself intervenes. Nothing less will convince Rintaro Okabe to get into the time machine. Suzuha realized that Daru was trying to make her feel better. Suddenly, deep in her heart, she felt a little warmer.
父さん、すごく恥ずかしいこと言ってるの自覚してる？
I think Rintaro would actually say the same thing, Suzuha. Yet one more thing the two of you actually have in common.
うわ、ですよね。
Daru knows that full well, since he's trying to cheer her up.
オカリン本人の前じゃ口が裂けても言えないな。
That is definitely true. And finally, Suzuha has a small smile on her face.
私、明日までに手紙書くよ。オカリンおじさんに。直接顔見て話すと、また変な感じになっちゃうから。
Yeah, the direct approach won't work this time. Rintaro still has his defenses up.
ごめんなさいっていうのと、もうちょっとだけもがいてみるって。
But Suzuha is going to fight her own battles a little differently this
だか
time.
ら、オカリンおじさんにも考えてみてほしいって。
And try not to push Rintaro over the edge because he's already damaged as it is.
そう
And to
は
push
言
him
っても
even further would make it
実
worse.
はもうあんまり時間はないんだけど。
It seems that Suzuha is still worried about the worldlines.
時間ないって？ロシアが実験を開始したから？
実はタイムマシンを制御してる量子コンピューターの内蔵電池、もうすぐ切れそうなんだ。
That's rather unfortunate. So the battery for the time machine is about to expire. That's not good. Anyway, what a quantum computer is a computer capable of using quantum mechanics of overlapping to perform parallel processing. While modern-day computers switch between two signals, 0 and 1, to perform their calculations, a quantum computer is capable of calculating these two signals at the same time. This allows for exponentially faster calculations, to the point where it is expected that quantum computing will change everything about the world we know. Practical quantum computers have not yet been built, although that may change in the near to far future.
Maji?
Although we probably should have heard about the battery sooner there, Suzuha. So it wasn't just the fuel that was running low, it seems.
前に話したよね。鏡を探すために1998年から何度もマシンを使ったって。
And unfortunately, as a result of searching for Kaguri, it seems that Suzuha used a lot more energy than she intended to.
それは当初の計画にはなかった行動なんだ。
Then again, she'd never anticipated that Kaguri would refuse to actually change the worldline for the sake of the Mayuri of 2036, or that she would remain in 1998.
当然、マシンを制御するコンピューターの使用回数も予定より多くなって。
And as a result, the time machine's energy stocks are at an all-time low.
それでバッテリーが消耗したっつうことか。
マシンそのものの燃料よりそっちの方が深刻なんだよ。マシンを正確に制御してジャンプさせることが難しくなる。
So the battery is what is responsible for all the technical navigation systems of the time machine. I believe Suzuha from the Alpha World line mentioned something about gravity lock, given that the Earth rotates at a exponential rate as it orbits the Sun, which makes time travel just a tiny little bit difficult, and as a result, traveling back in time has to be incredibly precise.
バッテリーだったら交換とか充電とかすればいいんじゃね？
Given the fact that it's from 2036, Daru, I would sincerely doubt it. Also, I don't think it's a small AA battery that needs to be recharging.
無理だよ。
In fact, I think it's probably a large makeshift battery, because you need something like that to power a machine of this
ちょっとだけ
magnitude.
その内蔵電池見させてもらっていいかな？
Suzuha nodded and pointed to a piece of the core of the machine. Daru leaned his huge body forward to take a look. It's actually the first time that Suzuha has actually allowed Daru to have a look at the time machine, because up until now she's always refused to let him take a look at it. But soon he gave out a moan of confusion. This is not good.
なんぞこれ？
I believe it's sad to say it, Daru, but that thing you're looking at is the battery for the time machine. The battery was the same size as a car battery, but it was the product of 2036's technology, and Daru lived in the year 2010. There was probably no way he could understand it. From Daru's perspective, it might as well have been a black box of unknown technology. A quick glance wouldn't tell him anything about how it was built or how it would work. That was one reason why Suzuha agreed to let him look at it. Pray tell, what was the other
2010
reason?
年の技術で何とかするのは無理だと思う。
And even if he could, he probably would take him well over a month, or several months, just to fix it, let alone tinker with it.
言うなればそれは使い切りの電池と同じ状態ってこと。充電も交換もできない。
So in other words, once the battery runs out of energy, it's basically just a inert piece of junk.
この時代のバッテリーか発電機に乾燥するのは
I think Suzuha just already answered that question. Suzuha shook her head helplessly.
とっくに試したよ。でも不可能だった。
So she knows from first-hand experience that changing the battery is going to take a lot more effort.
ルミ姉さんに頼んで車のバッテリーを用意してもらったんだ。トラックとかに積まれてる大きなやつ。
So she tried to use a conventional car battery, it
つない
seems,
でみたら1秒持たなかった。
and it didn't work. Something tells me that we're actually going to need a lot more than 1.21 gigawatts of energy to actually power the time machine.
なんでと
ガソリンを使う発電機も試してみたけど、それもダメだった。
So, gas generators are no-go either.
ガソリンが何ガロン必要なのか見当もつかない。だいたいそんな量のガソリンマシンには積めないし。
In other words, the time machine not only consumes a lot of fuel, but also requires an incredible amount of energy.
ルミ姉さんね、ものすごく無理をしてくれて最新の燃料電池まで手に入れてくれたんだよ。
It seems that Feyris still has her contact network here in Akihabara. But even that wasn't good enough.
未来の技術ってすげえのな。こんな小さなものがそんな大電力を賄ってるっつうわけ
Indeed, much like flash drives holding far more memory spaces than you would ever think could be contained on such a small device. Daru was staring in amazement at the futuristic battery.
SF 映画みたく生ゴミを電気に変えられたらな。
Sadly, Daru, this is not Back to the Future 2, and from your perspective, 2015 is 5 years away. But I can tell you right now that particular world line is a very small possibility of divergence. Of course, what he's referring to is the fact that the DeLorean machine by Doc Brown from 2015, it actually has some sort of device that can actually convert trash into energy, basically.
で、このバッテリー、あとどれくらい持ちそうなん？
多分あと1回か2回ジャンプしたらそれで終わり。
Only 1 or 2 trips. That, I think that pretty much sounds accurate.
たったそれだけ？
So, not a lot of energy, it
しか
seems.
もこうやってマシンが停止してる間もさ、重力場や座標点の計測装置なんかはずっと動いてるから、ジャンプしなくてもいずれ電池切れになる。
So once again, damned if we do, damned if we don't. Either way, the time machine is going to run out of energy. Whether we do anything or not. If we don't do anything, then we can't do anything, and if we do something, it could lead to even
残った
worse
バッテリーで
consequences.
正確なジャンプをするにはあと半年が限界だろうね。
But 6 months of battery is actually
マキセ・クリスを救いに行けるタイミングもそこまでってことになる。
although that's considering whether or not Kurusu Makase can even be saved from worldline convergence. Suzuha grabbed onto onto Daru's back and took a deep breath. It was squishy and it felt good.
バッテリーが切れてマシンのコントロールを失ったらどうなるんだろう。
Well, if that happens mid-transit, we'll probably either end up in space or the time machine will be turned into a jelly man.
カーブラックホールの制御も効かなくなるし、イベントホライゾンの向こうから永遠に戻ってこられないとか。
I actually believe that Mayuri said something along those lines during the Alpha worldline. But I'll bring up the tips. Event Horizon, also known as the Schwarzschild Radius, a point past which no information can be transferred. Information transmission occurs via light and electromagnetic waves, but the incredible gravity at the center of a black hole makes it impossible for even light to escape. The boundary at which this occurs is the event horizon. Anything that occurs inside an event horizon cannot be observed from the outside. Since no light can escape, the center of a black hole appears black. By the way, Event Horizon is also the name of a rather interesting science fiction movie starring Sam Neill, Lawrence Fishburne and Jason Isaacs, and it was actually a very interesting film. Well, just scroll down here to find Kerr Black Hole, because I had to actually re-record this episode for reasons, and unfortunately I can't reset the tips to reappear on the screen, so I have to find them manually. Anyway, a Kerr black hole is a black hole whose existence is predicted by current theories of physics that hasn't actually been ever found to be proven to exist yet. Unlike other black holes, the singularity at its center rotates. While other black holes have singularities at a single point, the Kerr black hole's singularity is a ring. Now, the real world John Titor actually spoke in some detail about Kerr black holes, and in these worldlines, Suzuha Mane's time machine actually uses the singularity of a Kerr black hole in order to be able to travel through time in the first place, and in the Alpha worldline, CERN actually used their Large Hadron Collider, or LHC, to actually generate mini Kerr black holes, which, and even the PhoneWave TVA, in its capacity as a time machine, somehow created a singularity all on its own, thanks to a cell phone, a microwave, and a 42-inch CRT.
縁起でもないこと言ったらダメだお。
Yeah, Daru is allergic to bad luck,
ごめん。
but it is a possibility worth considering. And Suzuha blinks.
でもそこってさ、どんな場所なのかな。
I think, if memory serves, Rintaro had a dream about being trapped in an event horizon on the Alpha worldline, and he was surprised to hear the voice of Kurisu Makase speaking to him from his subconscious mind. And Suzuha blinks again, probably trying to stay
今みたいに
awake.
静かな時間が永遠に続くのかな。
Well, I believe Rintaro actually learned from his personal dream that once you're in the event horizon, time and space get reversed. That is, conventional space basically means you're no longer technically moving as one would understand the concept, but as a result, time stretches out to infinity. But as Kurisu said from Rintaro's subconsciousness, eternity isn't infinite. I think Suzuha's about to fall asleep. I think she's really tired at this point.
だったらそれでもいいな。
As she clung to her father's warm back, Suzuha started to feel very sleepy. If she let her guard down for a moment, she was sure to fall asleep. She'd been trained to fight it on the battlefield, but this wasn't the battlefield, and she was exhausted from crying. Maybe it wouldn't be so bad to let her herself sleep once in a while, and it's probably a very good idea. And she closes her eyes for the final time. She sat down and held her knees like a child, then softly closed her eyes.
そっか。結局鈴葉はこの夏までに必ず行っちゃうんだな。たとえオカリンがどんな結論を出すとしても。
Which sounds rather eerily similar to the events of the Alpha Worldline, in which Suzuha was planning to go back to 1975 whether or not she actually found her father, who she had yet to learn was actually Daru all along. Just before she fell asleep, she thought she heard her father talking to himself. And now Suzuha is fast asleep. And we're back with Rintaro again. It appears we're in the streets of Akihabara, with Amadeus Kurisu, no less. Oh, and Maho's here too. Oh goody, you're one of those. You're a PC otaku, probably even more so than Daru. Which is probably not surprising given the fact that you're a highly skilled researcher at the Victochondria. Maho's eyes were shining like a little girl's. I wonder how Amadeus Kurisu is feeling about this. Not that many girls would look like that if you brought them to a place like this. I was the one who brought her here, but she seemed to have forgotten about me entirely. She was wandering down the narrow corridors where all the computer parts were, as if in a daze. Yeah, she seems truly ensconced in all the technical wonders of Akihabara. And then she came to a stop in front of one of them. Inside the shop were lots of little plastic bins filled with junk parts of all sizes. They'd been taken off of discarded PCs and appliances. Each of them was obviously dirty, and lots of them were covered in dust. Could you even sell them in that condition? I think you probably have to ask the salespeople, but I'm glad to see you're having a good time, Maho Hyajo.
Oh.
Yeah, sadly Rintaro doesn't share Maho's enthusiasm, as he's not entirely a PC otaku. Probably a safe bet to assume that she actually knows something about the IBN 5100. Although we probably shouldn't ask her about that, because we'd probably never hear the end of it.
Ooh. Ooh.
Maybe bringing her here wasn't entirely a good idea there, Rintaro. Yeah, I think we've definitely lost Maho. Watching the ecstasy on Maho's face creeped me out a little. Glad to see you're having fun, amusing yourself as well, Amadeus Kurisu. Amadeus Kurisu spoke from inside my phone. Hopefully people just assume that we're on video conference, which technically we are, so to speak. Maho said that she wanted to go out with Amadeus Kurisu today. And so I ended up going on a strange quote-unquote date with two girls at once. Good thing Daru's not here. This might be another test of Amadeus Kurisu's capabilities.
俺もここは何度か来たことがあるが、あんな顔してパーツをめでる人間にはこれまで一人しかお目にかかったことがない。
Yeah, that will be our vaunted super hacker, Daru.
分かった。橋田さんのことでしょ。
Glad to see that, well, you're somewhat acquainted.
ああ、
Though still probably a good idea keeping Daru in the dark about Amadeus Kurisu.
さすがにあの人と同類扱いするのは先輩がかわいそうよ。
On a technical level, the two of them are probably a even match for each other.
あんたの話を聞く限りだと橋田さんってとんでもない変態だから。
Daru would, at this moment, jump in and say that he's an incredible gentleman pervert.
そうだな。ヒアジョさんに失礼だった。
We should probably apologize at this point, even though Rintaro actually didn't really do anything wrong by comparing their technical expertise. It was early afternoon on a Sunday, and it's a beautiful bright day with sunshine bearing down on the lovely vista of Akihabara. But I believe this is the end of this particular episode of Let's Play Steins Gate Zero. And when we return, adventurers, we'll see what just unfolds from Rintaro's sojourn with Maho, Hyajo and Amadeus Kurisu, and what other antics might ensue from this little exchange. As always, until next we meet.